Oh, it feels like coming home again.
Right?
Okay.
Okay.
Let us begin.
Yes.
First of all, I promised people that I would tell everything that happened in the next few Mondays, because there's so much to tell. Joni and I went on a tour of the past. We had a few days where I needed badly to recuperate from COVID. And when Joni and Kenny were little, and Eric loved getting into the car and driving, Joni discovered Amish country. But the people we met were not Amish because they're more isolated. They were Mennonites. And it happened we were in the car going near Hershey, Pennsylvania. It was in Pennsylvania. And we had a huge dog. And Kenny took the dog out, and the dog ran towards another dog.
Me and Joni, yes.
Yes. And their dog was in heat. And so when the two dogs ran to each other, children appeared from nowhere to try to take them apart. And Kenny formed a friendship with a boy named Neil in trying to make the dogs be friends. And there were other children there. And it began a relationship. Amos, the father, who, can you take your phone and show them Amos who's here?
Sure can.
I decided I would speak about this. See Amos over here?
It's exactly what he looks like.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And Amos is a historian of that world. And he had so many letters of information on the Mennonites. And he couldn't read it because it was German. So Kenny said, my father can speak German. And the friendship was formed that we still have when we were there this week. And I need to speak about the Mennonites because today is the birthday of Martin Luther King. And these are the people who know how to love people and protect people and have no hate or prejudice. So I figured putting them together on Martin Luther King's birthday, wherever they are, they're probably together there too. And I would like to speak about Martin Luther King, not only because it's his day celebrated everywhere in America, but because he fits so much into what this painting is supposed to do. I don't know if you remember or not, but Eric had said to me, Hedy, let's do a painting of kindness. When our generation is gone, and history books will write about it, they will speak of slavery, Holocaust, shooting in schools, but they won't speak of people like us. And let's make this painting only have kind people in it, but make sure they're only real people, so that later on people will not be able to say, oh, you invented them. So I want to begin with the Hoovers. Okay? Kenny, can you come back again?
Yes, I sure can.
Okay. This is Amos. And this is his wife then, Nora. And they always fed us. Whenever we came there, there would be food. And I remember, to explain the Hoovers correctly, whenever I remember, nobody in that house ever was angry or yelled or unfriendly to each other. The Mennonites were thrown out of their many countries because they won't fight. They will not hurt anybody. And we were sitting at their table one day, and I thought to myself, come on, they can't be as good as they look. And the littlest one at that time, I found out his name was Mike. He's now a grown man. Nora made a wonderful cake called shoofly pie. And the little man began to hit on the high chair and yell, shoofly pie, shoofly pie, shoofly pie. And I thought, oh, now we're going to see them getting angry. And instead, I watched Amos's hand crept over gently to where the little one was sitting on the high chair and touched that hand gently. And the little one stopped making noise. And on the way home with my kids, I said, I promise I'm going to become like Nora. I will never yell again. Well, I did try. But I'm not a Mennonite, and I'm not a Martin Luther King, but I know they exist. Martin Luther King said, and I don't know the exact words, but I know the meaning, when he said, I need to carry love. Hate is too heavy a burden to carry. I'd like to ask you, in this terrible time, when wars are beginning all over again, I would like you to remember Martin Luther King and people like the Mennonites who refused to fight and kill, and therefore their houses were burned down, their crops were destroyed, and they were forced out of their countries. In the Hoover's case, it was Switzerland. And Switzerland now is one of the most peaceful countries. So let us hope. And now let me paint, and you can add, oh yes, the shirt I'm wearing. I have so much to talk about the food there. The shirt, we were going to go to the Green Market because they have the most wonderful food. And we were going to bring home all kinds of foods. But we never had time. The time went so quickly. Joni drove for hours back and forth. And let me get the painting out. And anybody ask any questions, please do. Ask questions. I prepared all this for tonight because I haven't painted in a long time. And when we came back, the first thing I did, you see, when you have COVID, the way I had it, the thing you don't dare think about is picking up a brush and not having your hand go like this. So, somewhere I have my glasses.
Oh, right here.
Thank you.
But let me just say that there are lots of comments, and I will read them to you. Martha Bilski says hello, hello.
Martha, you've got to come because I've got to see your hair.
And Penny Pinsky is watching. Penny Pinsky Ellis is watching.
Thank you for that wonderful box of snacks.
And Julie says, love you both. So glad to see you have recovered, Hetty. Looking
Completely.
great. And Penny says, hi, Hetty. Hope you are feeling better, with many, many, many hearts.
Completely.
Martha Bilski says, love at first sight. John Taracuso says, hi, Hetty. Hi, Ken. So glad you're feeling better. Big hugs from California.
Thank you. I'd rather have them in person. California is much too far for you to be.
Kathy Lahan Cawthorn is watching. Marcia Bard Isman says, so happy to see you here today.
And I'm so happy to be here. Kenny, do you want to be closer to see? Because you'll never see this palette as clean.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Lorraine Brent says, hi, Hetty. So glad you're feeling better.
Yes.
And Kathy Lahan Cawthorn says, hello, my Hetty. And then Phyllis says to Lorraine, hey, buddy. Marcia says, hooray, Hetty is back.
Yes.
You were missed.
And I missed you.
And lots of smiles and hugs and all of that. Amy Lawrence says, never raising one's voice is not practical. Nor does it mean you stop loving in those moments with your children. You raised your voice because of love for your children and the desire to teach them.
Yes, but think of a hand just reaching over and stopping the noise and it working. Instead of yelling, enough already. I don't, it's why going back to the Hovers and seeing a family where nobody screams and there are grandchildren and grandparents and they speak to each other. And when I think of Martin Luther King, and when he said, I have a dream, I think of all the words of our period of time. That sentence is the most important because we all know we can make it stop being a dream and let it become a reality.
Yes.
I need him back. On the other hand, I was thinking of this. I once asked Jessie how Jessie sees the world. And I keep remembering and speaking of that because Jessie said, nothing dies. It just changes its image. And what if the dream we have of I cannot carry hate because it's too heavy a burden to carry, what if that becomes our image of the world? Okay, now you will never see this again. It is so clean.
And there are still more comments, which I will read. Oh my God!
Oh, read them all, please.
I sure will.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to paint Amos.
Beautiful. So Ed Weedman is watching. Love you, Hetty. Hi, Kenny. And John Taracuso says, Hetty, me too. Martha Bilski has a question.
Yes.
What do you do when paint is left over?
It's like when I cooked a good dinner and somebody just mushed itself up so that it couldn't be eaten by anybody else and leaves it. And I have to scrape it off and dump it. I had to do that with paints quite often. It hurts. It physically hurts. So I tried using my old palette and squeezing colors wherever there was an empty area. But then I thought, Hetty, if company were coming, I wouldn't give them leftovers if they were messy looking. And I can't do that to the painting. So I do have to, part of it is waste, and it kills me.
Wow.
Okay, now watch my Amos.
Wait. There's a little more, but I guess you could paint and I'll just talk.
Okay.
So, Amy Lawrence says miracles do happen, and Michelle Carvalho is watching, and Laura Silver is watching, and Penny Pinsky Ellis says, "Hetty, did you get the Get Well mug and socks? I love you." And
Yes, yes.
And I'm so happy you're feeling better.
Okay. First thing I have to do, because Amos definitely changed. When I saw him it's a good 30 years later, isn't it, Kenny?
Oh, more. Yeah, more.
Maybe 50.
Yeah, like 52 or 54.
His soft chin was elderly now. So what shall I do? I shall take a little bit of this wonderful brown. And when I did this, I dipped into the white. Amos, lift up your chin. You know, and that's why I want to speak of them during Martin Luther King's time, because there is such a gentleness. And if you look at Martin Luther King's face, there isn't a mean bone in it. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, because I need an undertone, but I'm not used to the paint being so clean that I, thank goodness, have rags. And I have to tell you, in case Susan Hansen is listening, of all the gifts that I've been given in life, Susan always gave me very well washed out cottons, and I used them for rags. But in those days, my world was different. I could use an easel, which meant I didn't have to twist things around. And thank goodness, rags still work. That blue was much too clean and is so intense. That I will have to wait until tomorrow to cover it correctly. Mm-hmm. But then again, isn't that what life is all about? When you lose patience and do things your way, you find out you should have waited. Right?
That's a long brush.
Yeah, but it's soft. See, these brushes are wonderful. But if I would have waited, you see, if I'm going to be this white, it'll be bad. And because I want Amos's shirt to be white. So every week you'll see another coating of something, and you'll say, oops, Hetty made a mistake. On the other hand, I'm having such a good time because these paints are so clean now. The fun will be when I finish his face and suddenly I put his streaks of white hair and it becomes glorious. The beauty in color is its color. Kenny, if you are freezing, it's because oil is dangerous.
Oh yeah, the window's open?
The window is right in back of you. It's not in back of me.
I'm fine. I didn't even realize.
See, I need the white while I have it, but by tomorrow, when I put another cover over that white, it won't be so glaring. And when I put a shadow underneath the cake, it'll be even more so. You know, I told Kenny, and I mean it, Kenny has been threatening me by saying, Mom, if you put another person in there, you will lose everything.
Well,
It'll be packed. But we have a wonderful new friend, a friend of Jesse's, and I need to put him into the painting just because he's so special. And so I'm going to let him be one of the curb riders because I haven't met them. But Kenny is right. If I squeeze anybody into the painting, I can't. There's no room. So Isaiah is going to become, with Kenny's permission, one of the curb riders.
of course.
And tomorrow morning, remember, I'm back from vacation and I have so much food in the freezer that I have tomorrow's dinner. Now, do you see what I'm doing? And I'm only able to do it because of the undercoating. I'm going to do beautiful shadows. Kenny, are you going to read me comments?
I think people are transfixed. There aren't many comments, but
Oh, okay.
Marcia says, what a treat to watch you create. And Kathy Lahan Cawthorn just is laughing at what you said. But it's so cool to watch you do this.
Wonderful.
Ed Weedman says, I can't believe all the new people and scenes in the painting. You are amazing, Hetty. And you won't listen to Kenny. There will be more.
No, but let me tell you what I'm seriously thinking of. I cannot wait to go back to pencil because when I draw somebody, they talk. And if all of you remember the reason this began was when I was 8 years old and Hitler came and the world became dangerous for a Jewish family like mine, and we went into hiding. And I must tell you, when my parents told me that the whole world has become dangerous for us, and I can't go play in the park, and I'm not allowed to go to school anymore. They don't want me to go to school. Jewish children were not allowed to sit next to Christian children. But I knew all my friends were mostly Christian. So I knew this was wrong, that the people who were afraid just didn't know my friends. And so I was going to draw and paint only real people. And then nobody would ever have to be afraid of anybody, because they were in pictures. And the pictures told their stories.
Mm-hmm. Penny says, Hetty, if we had a world full of Hettys, we would have world peace.
It has you in it, right? And it has me in it. And since it has us, and Martin Luther King, and people who are listening, there are enough of us to change the world. One thing at a time. I've never seen a time when all the weather is perfect. Right? And sometimes when it snows, because I didn't do the shoveling, somebody else does it. And if not, I have a warm house. But do you see what's happening now? Slowly, it's becoming a real table. But only if you put an ugly color where the beautiful face is. And then you cover that. And we're allowed to cover. And today is Martin Luther King Day. And there was a time when a black man was not allowed to sit with white people. And now not only would he be sitting with people of any color, but we've gotten that much better. So,
Michelle? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let us be aware that even while we don't see it, step by step, the world has been getting wiser.
And Michelle Carvalho says, thank you for being an inspiration as an artist and a beautiful human being.
What you consider beauty must be who you want to be, because otherwise you wouldn't think that way. So you see, there are many of us. Because beauty lately has bothered me, because my skin has gotten so ugly. I'm 94, and what once was pink skin is now loaded with ugly spots. But maybe they're not ugly. Maybe they're just because I'm lucky enough to have been allowed to be old. But I still wish that I had beautiful skin.
Laura Silver says, beautiful skin in and out.
But you and I are friends for so long. We know each other, and so I really believe you.
I think it's time.
Yeah, but I'm having fun. But then again, look how lucky I am. I can wake up tomorrow and paint. Because the weatherman promised very ugly weather, so I couldn't feel bad about not being able to go out. Now, just one quick question. What shall I put on top of that cake? I should wait, shouldn't I?
Amy is asking for 5 more minutes, so we're going to go 5 more minutes.
Yes.
Maybe people will have responses to that. Meanwhile, Laura says, beautiful skin in and out. Kathy Lahan Cawthorn says, I see your beauty, Hetty. It's in form of a bright light. Martha says, being old is a privilege, and skin isn't just a mask. And Amy says, 5 more minutes. And Martha continues, being old is a privilege, and skin isn't just a mask or a cover or something. Love you.
I love you.
So if anybody has any comments on what Hetty should put on top of the cake.
Well, may I be honest? I really wouldn't listen. because until I get his sleeve correctly done, I won't know what the cake needs. Because everything is part of something else. See, what I must do right now, please, Kenny, don't go away yet, because I just have to show them how the sleeve matters. Because if I do this, by the way, this man is one of the most important people in the prison world. This is David Rothenberg, and there was a time when he decided that he would do prison reform.
Let me just say that Amy said an American flag on the cake, she was wondering.
I would love it.
Ah!
Oh, I would love it. I would love it. I would love it. It should definitely. Oh, I love it.
Amy's super happy.
I would love it. Quickly, before you make me stop, because I want to do it while we're still on.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm going to have to do 3 little ones because
why don't you save that for next week so we have the time for you to actually do them? Like, don't touch it, but do it next week.
Oh,
because there won't be time to do 3.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
But since, let me just do the base of it, because I couldn't do anything anyway until it's dry, right? But it would be so happy. We're going to have 3 of them. Amy, thank you.
Amy says something to look forward to.
Okay, Kenny, I promise I'll stop.
Wow, 3 flags.
Well, you see, 1 would be too. I gotta go. You're right. Everybody, I love you. Thank you. This was great.
So you won't work on that until next week, right?
Not the flag. No, not the flag.
Perfect.
Goodbye. Thank you.
And Marianne McGrain Vichers is watching, and Laura Silver says, love you. And
Love
Amy
you.
says, we love you. And Penny is sending lots of love you hearts.
I send them all back.